What up everyone, it's your boy Xmanny87 here bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is my ranking and overview of the Marvel Legends X-Men Wave Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure series. Before I get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's work our way from the bottom to the top, so let's go! Starting at the bottom is Siren. Yup, she's my bottom B here. Mainly because this figure frustrated me more than any other figure. The choice of the artwork showing her screaming powers and the figure not including a screaming head is just poor marketing for the figure. I just feel like half the character is missing without that head. Therefore, I changed my rating from a 6 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10. I think I was a little too generous with a mediocre 6 rating last time. Good thing about doing these ranking videos is I can have some time to reflect on any scores, judgments, errors, etc. that I made and adjust it. She still has some good things going for this figure, an essential need for the 90s X-Force team, and if you have no interest in completing that team, then she will be a great addition for your Deadpool display shelf since she was his first love interest introduced in the comics. After Siren, we have Darwin. I know he's just a new head and hands on the Pizza Spidey body, but it does fit the character. There's no other body mold better to choose from for him. He's comic accurate. The reason why he's higher than Siren for me is because they kept true to the character where they didn't with Siren by excluding her signature power as a portrait. 1 of 4 for the X-Men Secret Second Class team, which he's complemented by Vulcan. Also, if you remember in my More Lun review, I expressed that he needed some fists. Taking these Darwin fists can possibly work as an alternative. The skin tone doesn't match completely, it's a bit close, but putting it in an action pose for photos, you might not be able to tell. I expected Darwin to be at the very bottom for me at this wave. He'll probably or mostly be for many, but for me, what they did with Siren is unforgivable. Ranking 6 is Wolverine, my favorite of the X-Men. I can never get enough of their Wolverine figures, but I've also had my fill already with them. So it's time to introduce him to the pinless treatment and double diaphragm joint. The heat claws is a cool touch in figure form, but didn't work for me in the comics when they introduced that new power set. So interchangeable regular claws would have been nice because this is a nice modern Wolverine figure that can blend in beautifully on an Avengers display, not just X-Men. Looking forward to seeing what plans they have for the next evolution of Wolverine figures. Ranking in at number 5 is Sabretooth. I ended up liking this first appearance Sabretooth more than I expected to. I had fun posing him around and taking photos. The furry overlays work and the claws on his hands and feet are accurate to his size. I'm fine with this body mold, as reading so many of the comics at that time, this physique matches, especially his run in Spider-Man. Again, he wasn't a big hulking brute at that time. Only in the 90s did they change him into that. I'm still a fan of the face sculpt. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I only wish they gave him the all-white pupils. That little difference would have made it so much better. As we're at the halfway mark, Havoc is ranked number 4. The accessories made this figure, period. If he comes with those older circular power effects accessories and not these new ones, he would be lower on the list. This is what I'm talking about when the power traits make the figure. Not like Siren where they copped out. If we got this every treatment, every time, with every character, I promise you, no one would complain as much. He's decked in all black as he should be on the Spider-Man White Suit 2099 body. That chest emblem pops beautifully when exposed to some bright LED lights and complements those power effects even further. Wish he had translucent blue hands to look more powered up. I know everyone was telling me AOA Iceman, but it's too dark, blocky, and spiky. The retro Iceman is a better fit. It's lighter in tone, which is how it should look with the power effects being a darker tone for a nice contrast. Love the head sculpt. It's perfect for my 80s X-Men shelf. Rank number 3 is Maggot. I freaking love Maggot. What a highlight in this wave, and a huge standout too, being the tallest of the wave. Everything about this figure is so damn cool. The right body buck selection and adding new sculpted parts and layers was well executed. Having fists would have helped to dish out punches and including his shades. Some shades you can work with from other lines. Within Marvel Legends is hard though. Some shades you can work with from other lines. Within Marvel Legends is hard though. The Spider-Woman shades look too feminine and Jubilee shades are not the right color. But when you find something that works, it looks better. Eenie and Meanie are awesome accessories that has some play factor to them. He's a great sculpt all around and is an enjoyable figure. At the number 2 spot is Vulcan. I know I gave Maggot a higher rating, but I don't go by ratings here for my rankings, because the Vulcan body will be more beneficial to the line than Maggot, who used parts from Hercules that we'll rarely ever see again, whereas Vulcan is the new standard body for the line going forward. This creates so many opportunities for new characters that we have yet to get in the line that will fit this physique. We already see it being used for updated existing characters like the upcoming classic Black Panther. So updates for existing characters like a classic Angel, Magneto, Black Bolt, the Punisher, Cyclops, etc. will be more than welcomed. Then for new characters like Corsair, Exodus, Hector Ayala White Tiger, even some cool overlays, and we can get a Senyaka. And of course, the one we all want in this body is Batman. Whoops, wrong franchise. Seriously, lots of figures will benefit from this mold, and like I said in my review, it's not perfect, but with some few tweaks made down the line, it'll be much better in due time. This figure just needed some new energy effects. I love the Vulcan character, and now I'm only halfway there to complete the X-Men Secret Second Class team. Number 1 is a no-brainer, right? Bonebreaker all the way. Baf of the year, nuff said. He's pretty much all around perfect to me. That head sculpt really captures his personality, since he's a man with many expressions from silly to angry. The accessories and all you can do with it, play and display wise, beats everyone in this wave and pretty much the entire 2022 Marvel Legends lineup. We haven't had this kind of high-end level of Baf since 2020, I'd say, with the Gamerverse Venom pool, because man, that was Toy Biz level details right there. So give me this as a Baf all day. He's my favorite out the wave, and if he's not my number 1 this year, then he's definitely top 3. And now for my on the shelf segment, as promised, because I didn't get to do them in the individual reviews. So let me try something new here in the ranking and overview video, and it could just feel like a little mini collection display kind of video. So I'm going to show you all the figures in the wave and where I displayed them. So starting with my House of X, put Maggot there since he came back with that classic look of his in the 90s. Just for now, you know, I think when they come out with Marrow and then Cecilia Reyes, which I really, really want. Again, any Puerto Rican characters I will support. I have to get one for my 90s shelf to also display there. So he's worth buying 2 for me. So I'll definitely keep one here for the House of X shelf. I was just thinking House of L, Superman. Wow. All right, I just woke up from a nap, so I'm trying to get my brain back together. So, yeah, I think I definitely want to keep one here, at least, to help bolster this House of X display, which I really, really like, you know. It's small, but, you know, with the Sentinel there, just kind of makes it look big. And here we have Havoc with my 80s X-Men. So I love him on display right there. Looks like he's just blasting upwards. And man, that effect just looks beautiful. Really, really pops right there. And then I have Vulcan and Darwin right there. So as you know, I mentioned that this would blend in with your 70s, 80s X-Men team, since they're a canonical addition to that, you know, Deadly Genesis storyline. So it's just, it works and just looks really, really cool altogether. Really can't wait to get Sway and Petra to round it out. So that's already half of the wave on this shelf for me, since I got 3 different eras of X-Men with Marvel Now, House of X, and the 80s team. And now let's go to our Spider-Man side villains shelf. And yes, I added the first appearance Sabretooth there. So I really loved his battles with Spider-Man. You know, obviously if you saw my Sabretooth review and you saw the history of, you know, how his popularity took off and appearing in other special A-list character, you know, storylines. So it definitely helps to bolster this side of the shelf. So side villains and side allies for Spider-Man shelf. Sabretooth right there is a really, really good addition. And I have Wolverine in my Avengers display because I desperately needed a Wolverine in my Avengers display, and then this costume just blends in with the Avengers right there. So yeah, you know, I really like this Wolverine here on display. I just gotta find a way to swap out those claws. I don't know if I want the heated claws on display, but it's not a biggie. You know, it's not a biggie. And my 90s X-Men shelf right over here, you can see I added Siren, and she is aligned with the 90s X-Force team, of course. You know, I'm not gonna buy an extra Siren to put in my Deadpool shelf unless they come out with a different costume for Siren, like in that 90s run in her like blue and yellowish kind of costume. Then I would, you know, put that in my Deadpool display. But, you know, if they come out with one with a screaming head, then maybe I can just put this one in a Deadpool display. But, oh man, look how that X-Force team is rounding out. It looks beautiful. All right, and then the very last one is Bonebreaker, and I got him here aligned with the Reavers. So we do have him next to Lady Deathstrike, Pierce, Skullbuster, and I got Reese right there. So man, that just looks cool. Like just getting this picture in frame right here. So, and Donald Pierce is being lined up with the Hellfire Club, so it flows beautifully. Man, do I love this Bonebreaker. Do I love this Bonebreaker. It looks awesome on display. And that saves me some shelf space, actually, with his chassis being able to mount some Reavers on it. So, yeah, such a dope-ass figure, man. And that was my On The Shelf segment. So let me know what was your favorite addition to one of the displays that I showed you. And no one got binned. No one got binned. Everyone got a spot in my shelf. So no one has to suffer the plastic prison treatment. And now to wrap things up, my final rating for the wave in its entirety is a 7.5 out of 10. For my overview, I do feel like this may be Legends Wave of the Year, or at least tied with the Controller Baf Wave overall. Both have their hits and misses, but I think each figure brings something to every display shelf. But I might have to give it to this wave because we get 5 new first-timers in the line. For as much as people complain about getting Wolverines all the time, the majority of this wave is all new characters. So any arguments regarding the amount of Wolverine offerings is invalid here. It's a weird selection, sure, because they didn't stick to one theme. You have every decade here with the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and modern thrown in the wave. If you asked me who to remove or replace from this wave and I had to pretend I was a brand marketing manager, can't remove Wolverine because retailers wouldn't want the wave without a household name, so he has to stay no matter what. But I would have removed Siren because I wouldn't put something out like that without her screaming head. The other would be first appearance Sabretooth because he wasn't really needed at this point in time. So I would have replaced those two with either Cecilia Reyes, and God, I hate to say this because I dislike the Marrow character, but I would have put them in there to go with Maggot and bolster that late 90s X-Men team. Or what I would have done is remove them with Petra and Sway so that way the X-Men Secret Second Class team was knocked out in one fell swoop. Now I question, when will we get them? Or are they going to leave us hanging with this incomplete roster for a while? I just hope the wait isn't long because I'm all about team completions and I don't want my OCD to start spiraling as I'm looking at my shelves. Siren helps round out the 90s X-Force team. Sabretooth is still better than the 90s one on the Hyperion mold, whether you like to admit it or not. Wolverine is a good modern look to fit in an Avengers display. Darwin and Vulcan halfway completes a team, and Vulcan is a must-buy along with Havoc and Maggot. Vulcan introduces the new era for Marvel Legends standard bodies going forward. Then there's the phenomenal Bonebreaker Baf that speaks for itself. The Baf alone is worth purchasing the wave. At the end of the day, being a hardcore X-Men fan, I appreciate this wave, but there's still more work to do in order to make the price increase worth the bang for every buck. They can't just rely on the Baf and half-ass the rest. They also can't rely on the MCU figures, which they have relied on for so long, since most people have dropped out of supporting Phase 4 and beyond. If that's the case, cut down the size of the waves to not push the consumer so much. I know they're probably testing the waters this year, but 2023, they better bring it if they don't want to lose a big margin of their fan base. We all want to enjoy our toys, but times are getting tougher, and when it comes down to it, we gotta look after number one, and that's a roof over our heads, right? When I say the Baf is worth the wave purchase alone, that's just my perspective value. I'm not pushing you to buy anything, as your perspective value is different than mine, and so is everyone else's perspective value. Just buy what you enjoy. That's me keeping it as real as 100. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of this wave? Who is your favorite? Please share your ranking with me. Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.